I think, Kelsey, we just get started. And then those who hop in. Okay, perfect. Thank you again, everyone, for joining us this afternoon. My name is Julie Dugan. I am a program development specialist in international affairs, so creating programs such as this HHS 351. And I'm joined by my colleague, Kelsey Easterly, who you might know her name as the Global Education Advisor for CHHS. I assume most, if not all of you, are going to be from the College of Health and Human Services. So as we start to go through the presentation, please feel free to write any questions in the chat. We will have a Q&A at the end of the presentation, but if something comes up and you don't want to forget it, please do not hesitate to just write it in the chat and we'll address it either as it comes through or at the end of the presentation. So if you might, hopefully you're in the right place, but if you did not know, this is the HHS 350 trip and course info session. This is a special kind of program that was developed specifically for HHS students, and it has not run since winter, January of 2020. So we're really excited to get these back and up and running again. Here's an agenda of what we're going to go through. I know it looks like a lot, but we'll go through things pretty quickly, but still giving you enough detail to understand a little bit about how the trips work and how the course works in the fall. So again, if anything comes up, please don't hesitate to put a question in the chat. All right, and I'll hand it over to Kelsey.
Hello, everyone. Hi again, my name is Kelsey Easterly. I may have advised some of you already. I'm the main global education advisor for all majors in the College of Health and Human Services. So what is HHS 350? This is one of your options for fulfilling the international education requirement, and it involves two components. The first is the summer or winter break trip. So this summer, as you've seen, we're offering two HHS 350 programs, one in Dublin and a different one in Kyoto. But they're structured similarly in that you will take the 9-day trip over summer, and then it'll be followed by a Tokyo. And then it's followed by a 3-unit online course that you'll enroll in the fall if you go this summer. So that's taken the semester after you travel. And it's asynchronous 3-unit class. And then you will have completed a few things that way. By taking the 9-day trip and then the asynchronous class, you will fully fulfill your CHHS international education requirement. You also will get and fulfill your GE Explorations B for upper division GE, and also your cultural diversity, which is a university requirement to graduate. And the 9-day trip is going to be an overview of how global health is in that country. And you'll visit local clinics, hospitals, and different professionals in the health and human services field, and see how their culture impacts their approach to healthcare. And then the course in the fall, or whichever semester after you travel, expands on this global health focus and gives you a space to reflect on what you've learned abroad.
Thank you, Kelsey. And I wanted to add to something that Kelsey said, that these are offered in summer and winter. So if you're just interested in hearing about this, but maybe this coming summer isn't the best time for you to do this program, and you're thinking winter of 2023-24 or even summer of 2024, just rest assured there will be additional programs offered in those intersessions. So, and they'll be to maybe the same locations, maybe different ones. So if you decide, you know, this summer isn't going to work for me, you do have some options in the future. Okay, I wanted to talk a little bit about prerequisites and requirements of these HHS 350 programs. Like Kelsey said, the requirements or the graduation requirements that you satisfy with this program are Explorations B and Cultural Diversities. And since those are upper division, in case you aren't aware, you can only earn credit for those if you've reached 60 units. So that's why we give priority to juniors and seniors, because you will have already hit that 60 unit mark. You'll need to have a minimum GPA of a 2.0 and be at least 18 years old to participate. And there are those two components of this experience. There's the travel and the course. So you'll have to enroll in the course after you do your travel component. The program is open to all CHHS students and you're given priority. You may, if you're not a CHHS student, also be able to join the program, but only if there is space available in it. So CHHS majors, you will be given priority. And also, like Kelsey said, we have 2 locations that we are going to be running this coming summer, 2023. The first one will be Tokyo, Japan, and that's May 13th to 21st. Again, these are 9-day programs. However, because we're in different time zones than the locations that you're going to, you might have to fly out a day earlier, and we will be sure to tell you all of the information about flights once you've been accepted, and we are giving information about pre-departure for the programs. The second location that we are going to be running is Dublin, Ireland, and that's going to be from July 31st to August 8th, again, to that 9 days. For the application process, these applications open on January 16th. So I know if you've been doing any research on other programs that are available through SDSU, or if you're looking at non-SDSU program provider programs, those applications for summer 2023 are already open, but this program is different. It won't open until January 16th, and there are limited spots. So for our Japan program, the maximum number of students is going to be 50, and for Ireland, the maximum number of students is going to be 120. So that's a much larger program. So if you're sort of on the fence between both locations, just consider the capacity when you're making that decision. One piece of the application will say if you are open to the other location, should you not be given a place in your first choice. So you can say, yes, I would be open to, say you apply to Japan and you want to also have Ireland as a backup in case Japan fills, you can write that on your application. Other than that, the application is very straightforward. There's no recommendations required. It's mostly just a registration, and it will be first come, first serve with those limited spots. The deadline will be February 15th, 2023. However, if the program fills before that and the waitlist fills, the application will close for that location. So my recommendation would be get your name on the inquiry list if you haven't already. We send an email to the inquiry list as soon as the application opens, so you have that sort of first up ability to apply and get your application in as soon as possible. There are going to be a couple signature documents on your application where you just put your signature that you've read specific information. Read these carefully because they have a lot of information and important information about expectations for once you're accepted, about the refund policy, all of that. So just be sure that you're doing that when you that you're reading it before you sign it. Another thing that I want to let you know about that is new this year is that there's going to be a $500 deposit with your application. What that is going to look like is you will be given a link to make a payment, and then you'll upload that receipt onto your application. And should you decide not to go before March 15th, or you don't get a space in the program that you want, you will be refunded that amount of money. And again, like I said, rolling admissions, get your application in as soon as you can, and the priority will be given to CHHS rising juniors and seniors. Because you will be taking a course in fall 2023 to supplement the 9-day trip, you're just going to enroll in HHS 350 like you do with all of your normal semester courses. It's not going to be anything special. We'll give you instructions, of course, again, and remind you, hey, this is the section you're going to enroll in, because there will be one specific for Ireland and one specific for Japan, but that will be provided, all that information will be provided to you in the spring semester. So here is a little bit of information about what's included in the programs. They vary a bit based on the location, but things that are always going to be included is your housing. So for Japan, we will be in a hotel that has daily breakfast. In Ireland, you'll be in suite style dorms where each student will have their own single room, but there will be shared kitchen space and living room space, similarly to like upper classmen sort of apartment style dorms here. Then all of your excursions are going to be included and activities. Some meals are included. There's always at least a welcome and farewell meal. There's going to be a local tour guide there who can that can be doing some of the translation if there's a language barrier, and that will also be sort of giving some cultural background to specific academic guest lectures that we will have. There's also going to be all of your ground transportation when you're in country. So you get picked up at the airport. And again, we will let you know this is the time frame that you should arrive in so you can get the transportation to from the airport and then back to the airport when you're leaving. And then if there's any transportation between activities or excursions that are happening on the ground, that is also covered. Speaking of costs, here is the range of costs dependent on enrollment. So that means the larger number of students that enroll, the lower the price will be. Typically, these programs fill up and you can bank on the lower cost of this range, but just wanted you to keep in mind that there is a range based on enrollment. For your payment, there are a couple different pieces of the cost that go into this. First is what's called the course fee, and that's going to be all the on the ground things that we just went over: the ground transportation, your accommodation, the meals that are included, all the excursions, the local guide, all of those make up what's called the course fee. And that's going to be billed in two separate amounts, minus that $500 deposit that you will submit when you apply. The first bill will be April 5th, with the second May 5th, and you have 20 days to pay those. So you don't have to pay right on April 5th or May 5th. And then your SDSU tuition for the course in the fall is going to be just as you would pay tuition normally. So that won't be anything different than what you're used to. And there's also an international insurance plan that SDSU has for all students traveling on SDSU programs abroad called JCB On Call. And this covers everything from your luggage is lost, to you get COVID and you need to be quarantined, to you have a flight delay, to you just need to go to the doctor because you have a cold. So all of it, it's very robust. That's also a requirement for traveling on an SDSU program abroad. And information about that will be shared also spring semester with how you can enroll in that. Okay, and I'm going to pass it on to Kelsey to talk a little bit about scholarship and funding opportunities.
Thank you. So there are several scholarships on our website on Aztecs Abroad, so I encourage you to take some time to look through those under the scholarship and financial aid tab. But we wanted to highlight a couple today through SDSU. The first is the Associated Students or AS Study Abroad Scholarship. This one's actually embedded in the program application. So as you're filling it out, you can't miss it. And there's a short essay question that you'll be answering for that. And so we definitely recommend applying to that one. The second one is the Aztec Scholarship. That's the one application to make you eligible for several different on-campus scholarships. So you'll simply log into your portal. And then when it has different categories, you could check off that you might be eligible for scholarships. You would check off that you plan to study abroad. And there is more information on both of these scholarships under the financing and scholarships tab in on our website and Aztecs Abroad. And then as well, so if you do receive financial aid, it's a good idea to talk to a financial aid counselor about how some existing aid could possibly be used towards a summer program such as HHS 350. So make sure to tell your financial aid counselor that you plan to participate in a summer 2023 HHS 350 program that has an associated course offered in fall 2023 semester. They also have the virtual front desk you can drop in if you're having trouble making an appointment.
Okay, this is very important, and because I don't want anyone to not be aware of the refund policy in case you decide you don't want to go after you have committed to the program. So once you're accepted to the program and you decide that you want to go, you have until March 16th. I will actually just say March 15th to be safe, that to withdraw without penalty. And what that means is you can remove yourself from the program without being on the hook for any money. This is because once we have the set group, we have to pay our on the ground staff. So be sure to know for sure if you want to participate in the program by March 15th. And if not, there is a withdrawal form on the Aztecs Abroad brochure, or you can reach out to Kelsey or I if you're having trouble finding it. Like if something comes up and you have an internship opportunity and you can no longer go on the program, that's fine, but definitely make sure that you are withdrawing before this deadline. Because HHS 350 typically has a wait list, it might be that we are able to find someone to replace you and then you would not be on the hook for the money. But I just want you to keep that in mind when you're planning and everything, because we can't guarantee if there's no person to take your place that after March 15th, you would be responsible for some of the payment. And then expectations once accepted. So for this program, once you're accepted and we're getting you ready to go, there's going to be a lot of communication from the Global Education Office, from the Program Development Office that I'm located in to get you ready. So that includes talking about flights and when you should buy and for when you should arrive, making sure that your emergency contact info, your any kind of medications that you take, dietary restrictions, anything that will make sure that you are having the best possible time and that you're going to be the safest possible when you go. We want to make sure that we can meet that. You will be required to attend a couple pre-departure orientations. One will be a general health and safety orientation through the Global Education Office. And then you will also have one with your group leader who will be from SDSU, will be an SDSU staff member, typically from International Affairs or from CHHS, who will accompany you through your program, but will also meet with you beforehand to give you a little bit of cultural background, logistical information, and so you just get to know them and feel a little bit more comfortable with them. Just please be sure to check your email and for anything that's requested of you, complete it in a timely manner. So we just want to make sure everything is all set for you to go and that you have all the information that you need. There will also be some Aztecs Abroad post-decision steps that will prepare you as well. And those will be listed once you receive your acceptance and are changed into accepted status on your application. For the location that you're going to, they might have different COVID restrictions and rules for entering the country. That will be discussed in your pre-departure meeting, but it doesn't hurt to do a little bit of research on your own just to see what's required and also just to kind of get to know the country that you're going to so that you're prepared. All right, we just talked a lot. Thank you for kind of staying with us, and we want to give you some time to ask questions right now. I see that there are some in the chat. Oh, great question. Yeah, so flights will be purchased on your own. A lot of times students like to go beforehand or stay after so that they can explore and maybe enjoy another city within the country that your program is in. So students will be purchasing their flights on their own. However, we do send out a flight memo that gives you some potential flights that would work for the program, when you should try to arrive in a window so that you can get on that transportation from the airport back to the hotel. Typically, we will be picked up with our local guide at the airport. There will be a sign and a meeting place, and we'll all get together and then go to the hotel once we arrive. But again, we'll give you a lot of information about how to book your flights, when to book your flights, and what potential flights could work. In the past, and we can continue to do this if it will be helpful to students, we've had a list of students who are interested in flying with other students on the program, and they could put their flight information so that you could link up beforehand so that you have a buddy to fly with. See, another question, how long will the program be? Kelsey answered that, 9 days. Thank you. Can we still do this if we have already taken HHS 350 with no study abroad trip due to COVID? Yeah, you could absolutely do the trip if you want to. Since you've already done the course, you've already satisfied your international requirement, but yeah, you're more than welcome to. Do the 9 days abroad include the travel dates, as in when we fly to and from the country? Yes, so those will include arrival and departure dates. It doesn't necessarily include the date that you have to leave the US in order to make it to your host country on the day that the program starts. For example, if you are going to Japan, they're much farther ahead time-wise than we are. So you'll have to fly overnight to the day before in order to make it on the 13th. So you would fly at the latest on May 12th. And for Ireland, same thing, flying to Europe, especially from the West Coast, it's a long flight and you will have to fly at least the day before. So if the program starts on the 31st of July, you would at least be flying the latest on July 30th. Do we have to take the course or is there a COVID exception? So if you're going on the program, the trip, you have to take the course. If you fall into the CHHS international requirement waiver that goes through August 2024, you don't even have to do the international travel at all unless you want to. If that's the case that you prefer to just do a course, we do have an approved list of courses you can take. But if you do want to do a program, a trip, and you don't want to take HHS 350, there are other program types that you can do to satisfy GE requirements, or depending on what your major is, maybe to get an elective for your major course, if you really don't want to do a trip and then also have this course in the fall semester. For the $500 deposit, is that what we need to submit the application and reserve a spot? So you can submit the application. However, in order to reserve a spot, you will need to submit the $500 deposit by pay your deposit, and then you will upload the receipt to your application on Aztecs Abroad. Would we have to take the course in the fall again? If you've already taken the course, you do not need to take it again. You can just apply to the program and you've already completed the course, so you wouldn't have to do it again. Will there be a Costa Rica trip next year? It's possible that there will be a Costa Rica trip. We haven't planned out the winter 2023-24 or the summer 2024 locations yet. I can give you an idea of what has been done in the past. In the winter, a lot of times we've done New Zealand, Bali, Indonesia, also a different Japan, usually to Kyoto. We're also considering Peru. Costa Rica could definitely be an option. So there are a lot of locations that we're considering. Oaxaca, Mexico is another one, but that will be announced probably in the spring semester, which programs will run in January of 2024. And Costa Rica might be one. What time does registration open at January 16th? So I think it's going to be around noon, but that's the important part about being on the inquiry list, because we'll send out an email letting students know when it's opened. Most likely it's going to be noon, but I don't know for sure. We have to work with the Aztecs Abroad system. What were the travel dates again? Yeah, I can actually go back and show you. Tokyo is the 13th to the 21st of May, and Dublin is July 31st to August 8th. If I wanted to bring a friend that isn't CHHS, how would that work? Is the application process similar for them? Yes. If it's an SDSU student, they can apply the same way that you would. They're not guaranteed. I mean, no one's guaranteed acceptance, but they will definitely be lower on the list if they're not in CHHS. If you are hoping to bring a friend, I would probably recommend looking at Ireland, just because it is a much larger program. Where can we find other locations programs for the 9-day programs? For these 9-day programs, these are the 2 locations for summer 2023. Aztecs Abroad will have the winter 2024 and summer 2024 locations, and Kelsey will be communicating with students once we know, probably next semester for winter 2023, 2024, January 2024, and summer 2024 will be shared during fall of 2023 semester, similarly to how we're doing now for summer of 2023. What about if we had our exploration satisfied, but we want to study abroad? I could technically graduate this semester. There are other programs that you can do that don't have credit associated with them. Depending on your major, it could be major specific, or if you want to do something that you're just interested in, there's volunteering, there's internship programs. I would recommend talking to Kelsey, because there are a ton of options available that you can consider instead of these programs. Sorry, just scrolling through. There's a lot of messages. Are there any CHHS majors that get priority? There's of CHHS majors, none get priority. It's just all the same. For some of the other programs that we have, there are those global seminar ones that you might have seen, where it's an SDSU course taught abroad during the summer and during the trip. They might have priority, but for our HHS 350, all CHHS majors are looked at the same. Do these satisfy the honors minor inter? Excellent question. So these do satisfy the honors minor as once you complete the academic course. So because you're earning credit, something about honors is that in order to satisfy their international requirement, and same with ours and CHHS, is that you need to earn academic credit. So once you complete HHS 350, the course in your fall semester, you will satisfy both your honors requirement and your CHHS requirement. Let me go back to all the way to the end, in case, to let you know that Gio is on TikTok, and to give them a follow. You might see Kelsey in some of those videos. Oh, another message, sorry. Okay, great. I don't know, Kelsey, if there's anything else you want to share too.
Yeah, since you're all here, for those of you who are CHHS majors, I'm hosting an upcoming info session on not this Friday because we have Veterans Day, but the following Friday, the 18th. And I'm going to be going over the whole menu of options for summer 2023 besides HHS 350. So hopefully you look into these programs for HHS 350, but if you did want to know about other programs or questions about the international education requirement, and if you fall under that COVID waiver. I'm going to be answering all of those questions. So you can RSVP at this link, the Google form I shared. That'll be on Zoom November 18th at 11 a.m. And if I haven't met with you yet, I highly recommend attending that first before you schedule an advising appointment with me. And then also I'll add, Julie, correct me if this is wrong, if you're participating in HHS 350, you don't need to meet with me or an advisor as a requirement to apply. You can just get on that inquiry list and apply the day it opens. But if you want to do another program that's not HHS 350 and not a global seminar, you'll need to meet with me first as a requirement to apply.
Good point. And that reminded me also, this coming Thursday at 6 o'clock, there will be an info session on one of our global seminars. So it's an SDSU course that's taught during the summer by one of our SDSU faculty. This one is about food and nutrition in Spain. So that will be at 6 o'clock on Thursday, and the faculty member will be talking to you all about the really great activities and the cooking classes and everything. This is a program that gives priority to specific majors. So this is designed and created for food and nutrition majors. They get the priority in acceptance. If you are a kinesiology major, you may be given the opportunity to enroll if there is space after the February 15th deadline. So after February 15th, if the program isn't full, you will be able to have a chance to be accepted. You will need to have taken a nutrition course. And then you have Kelsey, I think you also have a therapy abroad and CFHI info session too.
Yes, thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah, sure.
So on Tuesday, November 15th, we will be having an info session for 2 additional summer 2023 opportunities that also happen over winter break, Therapy Abroad and Child Family Health International. And I don't have a Zoom link for that yet, but they'll both be presenting, both representatives and the director for one of the programs, and they will go over those programs as well. And I will post information about that on the CHHS homeroom.
If you want a hands-on experience that's really close to your major, those 2 programs are excellent options. You'll get a lot of really great observation hours for therapy abroad specifically. It's really good for pre-PT and SLHS majors, and you can actually get some of your observation hours covered by that program. Any other questions? Can you post the Ireland one? Oh, I went to Mexico. Sorry. Okay. The inquiry list, you mean?
That for the Julia, the Oaxaca internship, the Global Health Oaxaca internship.
Okay, sorry. Yes, here's the Ireland one if anyone missed it, and let me get the Oaxaca one. That's a good point. There's another program that's really going to be a great clinical internship experience, and this is a 6-week internship in Oaxaca, Mexico, that includes Spanish lessons, includes guest lectures about typical health issues within Oaxaca, and it also is a 3-unit course that will be taught by one of our professors here at SDSU, and gives more of the like cultural background and information about migration and things like that to kind of supplement that clinical internship component. And that info session link is here. Inquiry list. Yes, the Japan trip will cover the study abroad requirement for a kinesiology major. There's not necessarily fewer options for a fitness specialist. It really just depends on what type of experience you want. So there are some that are super specific to different majors, but there are also a lot of programs where you could take a general education course, or you could do, say, an internship or a volunteer program, and then come back and take this HHS 350 course to earn your academic credit required for the international requirement and satisfy it that way. The Tokyo inquiry list. Yes, I can post the Tokyo inquiry list. 1 second.
Yeah, and while Julie's posting that to follow up, any study abroad or internship abroad that's on Aztecs Abroad in our database is approved for the international education requirement. A lot of students do want to get an experience in what they're studying, whether it's public health or social work. However, you can also take an anthropology class or do a GE class or take a GE explorations for another area of interest. So you know, it depends what you're looking for. Most students do often want an experience in what they're studying and seeing what that is like in another country. However, you're not limited to a program only for your major area, but there's some that are better fits than others. So it all really depends. Sometimes students really go to learn a language or be in a culture they're interested in or have family from.
I am writing in the chat, but I could probably just say it to answer Megan's question, which is, does the cost include the tuition or is it just the cost of the program? It depends on the type of program. So for global seminar programs, which HHS 350 is not a global seminar, it's different. Global seminars will include the cost of tuition in the quoted program cost. For HHS 350, this is just including the on-the-ground costs, because tuition is just going to be paid for as if you were here with your normal tuition for SDSU. So if you're an in-state student, it shouldn't make any difference. For an out-of-state student, it might add some more tuition, but keep in mind that besides the international requirement, you're also going to be satisfying 2 other requirements, your explorations B and your cultural diversity. So you're really getting 3 requirements out of the way with this one class. So triple dipper.
Julie, we got a question about, do you know exactly when, like what time of the day? I don't know if we know this yet, on February 16th, on January 16th, that the applications will open for HHS?
Yeah, it's most likely going to be around noon, but I'm just going to tell students to go to the inquiry list just in case there's any kind of technical difficulties with the system. I don't want people to be like waiting by the computer or right on the application and like wasting your time. So if you're on the inquiry list, you're going to receive that email as soon as applications open. I'm guessing it's going to be around noon because it's going to be during the work day, since we have to manually do it. I'm guessing it'll be noon. I also want to answer Riley's question, which is, so the Japan trip is not necessarily focused on an area related to kinesiology. So the HHS 350 programs are general HHS programs. So you're going to get a little bit of everything across the different majors. I can tell you for Japan, for example, you will go to a judo lesson and you'll get to practice and hear about martial arts and how that's used for fitness and also like mental health. But then you'll also go and hear from hear a guest lecture about the aging population, since there's more individuals over 100 in Japan than anywhere else in the world. And then you'll also hear something about, we always have a food and nutrition lesson and a cooking class in Japan. So you'll get a little bit of information about nutrition and how it's looked at in schools. And then there will be something about speech language. And so you'll get a little bit of everything within CHHS. So it's not specifically only for one major, but you'll definitely have some of your major within the program. For Ireland, actually, though, there is more, because the program is so large, there are separate tracks based on major. So if you want a shorter program, a 9-day program, but you also want something more major specific, Ireland is a good one because it does have more specialized tracks based on major. Any other questions? And we can also stay on if you have a question that you don't want to ask in front of the group. That's fine as well. Otherwise, thank you all for coming and sticking it through these 45 minutes. And we hope to see you in Japan and Ireland in the summer. Any last questions, Lucas, Delaney?
Delaney added to the chat box, what weather would you normally expect? So summer, Dublin.
Summer in Dublin is gorgeous. Like it's the perfect, I would say probably compare it to like the best weather in San Diego. They do have a little bit more rain, but August is like the best month that you can possibly go. Might be a little bit more humid than here, but mid 70s during the day and like mid 60s to low 60s at night. Japan is a little bit hotter. That's the reason that we go so early in the summer, is to avoid the heat and the humidity. So you're probably looking at like 80 degrees for those programs, or for that location and the Japan program. But we will also provide a packing list and some information about packing depending on what location you go to, so that you can be comfortable and not be have brought the wrong stuff and then just be sad about it. You're welcome. Okay, I'm gonna stop the recording now.